Hello everyone. If you're listening or watching this or whatever, then that means you probably saw my last video. Which if that's the case, then thank you so much, and that means it got enough views for me to make a second one. And that second one was something I briefly touched upon in my last video. If you didn't see it, then that's okay. And that is, well, I'm an artist. More specifically, a Five Nights at Freddy's fan artist for the most part now recently. And today, I am bringing you a video that centers around a topic that I am quite passionate on, and that is a specific one, the designs of certain book characters and how they have been translated, or more accurately, mistranslated over the years. Now, there are a plethora of examples I could bring up, but today we are going to focus on a select case, possibly the first case, I believe, of design mistranslation, and that is the twisted ones from the book Five Nights at Freddy's, The Twisted Ones. I'll throw up some examples on screen of how they were illustrated for the book upon its, or actually before its release. See here we've got Freddy, Bonnie, Foxy, and a buck out of nowhere character called the Twisted Wolf, who is barely even a character, because the Twisted Ones are not characters. They are plain and simple plot devices, and poor ones at that if you just read the story and read their function. I'll get into like what they do later on in the video, but as you can see here by these drawings, renders, whatever, they were designed by one of the older official Fnaf artists, Lady Fizz. I believe it's pronounced just Fizzy, and she is a whole topic I could get into. Frankly, she's a whole can of worms. Awful person. Was in some not so great groups involving touching kids and other things. I'll explain that later, probably not. But as you can see here, these are how they're widely depicted, and depicted even in the graphic novel and merch and all that. And besides the wolf, which even then that design is very mistranslated to a lot of people, where only half of it is right, half of it isn't. They all pretty much look nothing like how they are actually described in the book. In the book, they are described as, I'll get into more specific examples later, but they're described in a way that a lot of people have tried to design. I hope I said that right. Where basically they're just giant furry creatures with a bunch of teeth, no segmented joints, and some gore going on. But as far as I'm aware, she was not given proper details, and she worked with what she had, and that has led to these, frankly, awful designs that I really don't like, and has caused a lot of people to call them bootleg nightmares, which they are. That is kind of their purpose. Later on, didophobia and all that. But that doesn't matter. Even if they're not great, I still think they deserve a proper chance and a proper redesign. So, I'm going to give them one in this video. So, I don't really know how to transition to that, but just onto the drawing. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned through the end. Okay, so if you hear snoring in the back, my dog is like sleeping next to me, so just forgive that. But okay, so starting with the main man himself, Twisted Freddy. Okay, so as you can see in his illustration, or the one I showed before, he's pretty much just a bootleg Nightmare Fredbear. Like that's kind of like his biggest flaw that people attribute to him, is that he's just kind of like a boiling Nightmare Fredbear. Which he very much is, but okay, and I have some notes here from the actual novel. Okay, so let me just read them over as you watch the drawing play out. Alright, when his disc is activated, he starts to become... Sorry, I can't read my own fucking handwriting. Yes, I physically wrote these down, don't judge me. He smooths over, his body becoming enraptured in brown fur with big bouncy cheeks. Perverts. He moves somewhat disjointedly, and his hat is all dirtied and sitting on one side of his head. His jaw can fold outward, almost like a python, and he constantly makes chewing motions, and his mouth is full of razor-sharp teeth with long claws at the end of his hands. A detail that I unfortunately messed up a little here was that he has red eyes when he turns into this, and I kinda forgot when drawing it, just didn't fix it, and gave him his blue eyes. So that's kinda on me. I fucked up already. Unsub and disliked the video, but I don't think you would get the appearance he's described as, like, illustrated as, just by reading. I don't think it will come off like that at all. In fact, those boils he has, never really even mentioned. And the whole python mouth, which is almost a detail that was given to Bonnie, was taken away from Freddy and given to Bonnie. My fault. But reading all that, here was the design I came up with. I don't know why one side of the jaw is kinda like that. It's weird, but there goes fixed Twisted Freddy. Okay, now on to Twisted Bonnie. Now here's one where there is literally nothing. Like, I'm not even joking. He shows up near the end, and his entire description is he has, like, glowing, bulging white eyes, and his head is so massive it can't even sit on his shoulders right, and it's kind of slouching. I didn't do the slouching, because I don't know, but yeah, literally, like, even his endo is not described. It's completely different than which, you know, that's kind of the confusing part where, like, that's actually the only part she got right, that his head is so massive, but otherwise, she just kind of winged it with that design, which, I mean, hey, it worked. That's one of the, like, most popular designs of the Twisted ones. People love that Bonnie. I think people even made an altered fan model with, like, a bunch of eyes, and was like trypophobia, and, you know, that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that people took what was effectively nothing, you know, kind of ran with it. I mean, literally, as you can see here, it's just a massive head. So, yeah, that's Twisted Bonnie. On to the next one. Hey, here he is, the new guy, the wolf dude, Twisted. Roxy, before the transition, good for her. We can only hope to be so lucky, can't we? But, yeah, like I said, the wolf was the only one that was done kinda okay, where in the drawing, or lady's illustrations, he was in the middle of transforming. I mean, the endo on the other side was wrong, but he looks to be in the middle of transforming. So he's kind of the only one that was done correct-ish, but everybody always thought, like, oh, he's half and half, when no, he's not half and half. He's just not done, but obviously people just go with it. In terms of description, it's pretty much just described like an animatronic wolf, covered in silver hair, a silver wolf's mane, blue eyes, claws, silky ears. Honestly, there's not much to this thing. Like, I mean, I guess I really don't understand the decision to replace Chica with him. Lady made an illustration of what that would look like, but again, those designs aren't correct, so we don't know what it will look like. We don't really know why Scott just didn't do Chica, but this wolf guy is kinda cool. He's a wolf. He's a wolf. Also, a tail isn't specifically mentioned, but so that was just kind of a thing that I did. Because there's a detail later that says Foxy has no like attachments like that, so I just assumed it meant like the wolf did, even though it's not specifically described. So yeah, that's kind of the reason he has that. But yeah, there's old Twisty, old wolf boy, Roxy. On to the next one. Okay, and last but not least, Foxy, who yeah, his illustration was also not entirely correct. I think something to point out, and this might not entirely be correct on my part, but this is just from the description of his left side being fairly busted up and a hook never being explicitly mentioned, though that could just be because, like, oh, it's Foxy. Maybe he doesn't have, he obviously has a hook, but I kind of took a creative liberty there. And also, I discovered what Project Box was halfway through this, so that kind of influenced me. Unfortunately, like literally by the time I got to Foxy, that's, yeah. But, so there is some design influences there, but again, he shares the same problem as the others, where he's just supposed to be like one connected giant furry monster. But and I should mention, these things are like 8 feet tall. Like, they're big enough to, like, because they're spring-lock suits, or, yeah, they're spring-lock suits. They're big enough to, like, hold a person inside while still having enough room. Which also kind of calls into question if all spring-lock suits are that big, or if only these ones. It's probably just these ones, because they're specially designed. Still a fun thought. But for his description, it's basically, yeah, very large, reaching 8 feet tall when standing. Got a straight split along the, oh, sorry, that's the endo. Those, I won't talk about the endo details, but I will include those at the end. He looks to have skin and fur, but they are blurry thanks to a trick of the light, which basically means you can see the endo underneath, which is also something that was not included, where they're just damaged so you see the endo, but no, it's literally like you can see through them. They're translucent. His left side is all busted up. There's some gore and stuff going on with those little wires hanging out. It's almost like candy, so candy gore, if you know what that is, kinda. His left shoulder and elbow joint are bent out of place. And, yeah, that's about it, just for the, actual twisted form. But, that's Twisted Foxy. Yeah, that's all of them. So, I guess on to the outro then. Okay, and that is all 4 members of the Twisted Ones. If you made it this far, thank you so much for sticking through the rest of the video and my corny little dialogue that I don't really know how to record because I'm using, like, PlayStation headphones and just my phone because I'm poor. But, you know, maybe this video could change that. Maybe I'll reach a decent amount of people. Who knows? But yeah, thank you so much, obviously. If you enjoyed this, you know, like, subscribe, do all that nice stuff, and hey, leave a comment down below telling me what you think, what I can improve at, because if you couldn't tell, I'm kind of new at digital art. I'm getting better, fast, you know, doing the whole watching tutorials, drawing everyday thing, but also leave a comment on what character you want me to do next, because chances are, if they were depicted in a graphic novel, or like, drawn by Lady Fizzy or Pinky Pills, they were drawn wrong. A big example being William. He was butchered by Pinky, and now everyone thinks that's what he looked like. Oh, another big one would be Tiger Rock. I would love to redraw Tiger Rock. I have redrawn Tiger Rock, but you know, if you guys would like to see the video on that, I can do that. I can make really. I mean, I just love the mimic. I just love the books in general. You know, obviously Stitch Line, Tails Game, I believe all that. You know, Andrew and all that stuff. So, you know, I can make some illustrations for that. But yeah, you know, like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'll link my socials down below. And yeah. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for sticking around. And you have a good day, night, evening, whatever. And goodbye.